Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Super Paranormal Chronicles. Today, I am delighted to have Dr. Kate Cherrell. Kate is a writer, researcher, and specialises in 19th century spiritualism. Kate, welcome.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Well, okay, let's get the things on the table. You're from my home county, Lincolnshire, England, so we don't have to talk posh.
Oh, don't we? All right, thank God
okay,
for that.
But I can call you a Yellow Belly because you are from Lincolnshire.
I'm a proud Yellow Belly. Yeah, proud Yellow Belly, proud Codhead, the works.
Codhead. Oh, I've not heard that expression for such a long time. So for people that are listening, Codhead is because she's from Grimsby and Cleethorpes neck of the woods, where I'm from the posh end of the county, Boston, which some people will know and get confused with the American Boston. But let's not go there. So, Kate, just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about Dr. Kate Cherrell.
Okay, I'm Dr. Kate. I'm a writer, broadcaster, researcher. I write academically and commercially on the paranormal and all matters of supernatural and folklore. My academic specialty, if you will, is 19th century Gothic and 19th century spiritualism. So I've got a lot of essays with obnoxiously long titles under my name. And I've done a fair bit of telly over the last few years, mainly for Discovery, doing all manner of paranormal investigation and paranormal history. So day to day, I just say I work as a paranormal historian.
Perfect. And I know that I don't have to call you Kate because I'd like to think we're friends, but it's a doctor that does not prescribe drugs. So let's just get that out there.
I mean, I'll have a go, but chances are you're not going to feel too good afterwards.
But with it being a Gothic PhD, then you can probably prescribe like black lipstick and.
Oh yeah, clove cigarettes. Yeah, if you need any of that, hit me up. I'll sort you right out.
You're the one. So details at the end of the podcast.
Exactly. Yes.
So how did your Gothic and spiritualist road take place, like from a very young Kate to sort of now kind of thing?
Yeah. Well, I think like most of us, I've always been interested. I think especially if you end up being immersed in the paranormal, you generally have like a hook from when you're very young. And I certainly had that. My granddad was really aware of the paranormal. He'd had a few experiences and he was interested in ghosts and UFOs. He was very into Roswell at the time. And I got a lot of the passion, certainly for the paranormal, from him. And then obviously I had later experiences that very much compounded that. But I suppose a lot of it came from spending a lot of time in cemeteries and being aware of the Victorian era as this age of industrialization, romanticism, creativity. And when I really discovered Victorian sensational and Victorian Gothic literature, I just absolutely fell in love. And so every aspect, I broadly say, the miserable side of the 19th century is what interests me. So it's your penny dreadfuls, your vampire novels, your mourning fashions, your mourning traditions. I've done a lot of work to do with death traditions in the 19th century. So it all just sort of naturally spiraled for me. And I'm fortunate enough now to say that it's now my full-time job. So it's worked out well in the end, thank God. And I can still say it's not a phase.
Yeah, and it's like to have a job like that is you've got one of the cool jobs. So most people have like a 9 to 5. Yeah, I work for the government over here. But I was a paramedic and firefighter while I was in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
But what you do, you wouldn't do it if you didn't enjoy it, right?
Yes, it's a lot of my time is spent writing speculative work and a lot of work that you just have to hope works out. And then if I do get particular commissions and things, you've got hellish deadlines. So it's high stress, it sounds like I should just be wandering around graveyards all the time going, oh, I've got an idea for a magical new thing. And I wish that was the reality. But most of the time I'm stuck behind a desk and in my library that's starting to compromise the structural integrity of my home. But yeah, it's a lot of reading, a lot of writing, a lot of graft, and takes a long time before it starts paying off. I'm very fortunate that I don't have to go back to having a 9 to 5. But even then, I had weird jobs beforehand, so I don't think I was ever going to be cut out for office work.
Yeah, and it's like, say, I was a firefighter at Boston. I was a retained firefighter, and then I was a paramedic, and I worked in London, I worked in Leicester, and my last location was Holbeach before I came to Canada. And now that I'm actually in an office, there's a lot of sort of like office problems that you don't get when you do a different job.
Yeah.
And like, you know, all the memories of me being out on the road every day, driving ambulances and flying through the streets. Yeah, it's great to reminisce on that, but yeah, you don't get any younger. You have to kind of realize how you're moving forward, and you go from there. So, being a goth girl, I would imagine that one of your favorite places at Halloween is Whitby, because of the way that they absolutely, like take on the goth nature. So, have you been to Whitby a few times for Halloween?
Oh, of course I have. Well, I always say Whitby's my spiritual home. But no, I adore Whitby, and certainly from the ages. I first started going as a child, and then from my early teens, I used to go at least twice a year, every year, for what was then the Whitby Goth Weekend festivals, which were in April and October, November every year. So I did that for years and years because I love dressing fancy. I love Whitby. I love meeting up with my friends and seeing bands and so forth. And obviously the big Victorian literary history, the Dracula connections in Whitby, the beautiful Abbey. There's just so much rich folklore in the northeast coast. And of course, the history of jet jewellery. It's just everything is perfect. Everything's perfect about Whitby. But only over the last few years when the festival things changed around a lot and work got in the way that I've only managed to go once a year. But I'm hoping to start redressing that again.
Oh man, because I remember going to Whitby, and we didn't know about the goth weekend when we was there, and there was coffins in bars with people sort of like just laid in.
Yeah.
And the last time I came to the UK was just before COVID, and I brought my wife and we went to Whitby, and we did went up the steps to the church, and I love it how it's got on the sign like that people think that Dracula's real and Dracula's grave is at Whitby, and they have a sign to say Dracula is not real. There is no grave for Dracula.
Yeah, please stop asking us to find Dracula's grave. It's fabulous. I love it because they've even laminated the little sign now, which I think suggests that they've been asked far too many times, and someone in an office has gone, right, that's it.
Yeah.
But I love it. Whitby's so quirky and beautiful and odd, and so much of it doesn't make any sense. I think it's a wonderful place.
That's it. And my wife's really big into Harry Potter, so we also went to Ghostland as well, sort of like as we're back, because obviously Harry Potter and Heartbeat and all that kind of stuff. So you started your writing. So what happened for you to get involved with Haunted magazine?
Haunted magazine. Well, I started writing for Haunted when I was in the middle of my PhD, and I was writing a lot of articles around that were quite dry, that were about Victorian death practices and a lot of very quite grim historical stuff about grave decorations and things like that. And I just thought, I need to be proactive. I liked Haunted, and I just messaged Paul, the editor, and said, I'd like to write these things. Would you be interested? And he hasn't been able to get rid of me ever since. So that was however many years ago now. But it's been a lovely little community, and it's through Haunted that I've met so many weird and wonderful people, and I've found myself in some quite wonderful situations. So I'm incredibly grateful to Haunted magazine, to Paul and Andy. Yeah, they've been very, very kind and very supportive to me.
And that's really weird because when I decided that I was going to do a podcast, I was already subscribing to Haunted Magazine, and it was literally like flicking through the pages. I like that article. Write that person's name down. How to, and that's how I met Charlie, and that's how I met Kate, because I always get confused between you and Kate Ray.
Yes, with one name between us.
Yeah, that makes it easy. Yeah. I kept calling her Katie. For the no, it's Kate. I said, sorry. So, what can you remember? What your very first article was for Haunted Magazine?
Yes, it was. It was the Shrieking Pits of Norfolk, where these two. God, this is a real test of my memory. This is. There are two. They look like ponds. They look like sort of quite grotty ponds, but I think they're old Iron Age, like smelting. They were used for industry, so they're like smelting pits. And over the years, they'd filled with water, and obviously, when you get centuries of time over quite an interesting landscape, a lot of weird and wonderful folklore had sprung up around these shrieking pits, including your bog standard weeping grey lady and all manner of banshees and strange things, strange abilities that were suddenly attached to these two shrieking pits. But to write the article about them, I went and visited the shrieking pits, took all my photos of me shrieking next to the pits. So it's like this big like art project at the same time as well. So yeah, I've managed to justify quite a lot of quite fun field trips while I've been writing.
See, perfect job. It's like what I've said. It's great. I want to come and do your job. And I know that
you've got no social life.
Well, I'm getting that age where I haven't got a social life.
Oh, right.
But I was partying with your Prime Minister last night. I say partying. I went for a drink in my local bar, and our Prime Minister and your Prime Minister turned up for a beer.
Oh, really?
It's all like,
how weird.
Yeah.
But right.
He didn't speak.
Yeah.
Our Prime Minister had a selfie with me and my buddy. Like, your Prime Minister sort of like, he left early. I'm not quite sure why, but
he's letting the side down, isn't he?
I know, right? Isn't it? English
sake,
party animal. Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you decide what subject you're going to write for Haunted Magazine? Because I've got a list of some of your articles in front of you, so I might test your knowledge in a little bit.
Oh, God.
It's a Sunday as well. Your brain switched off. But how do you decide what you're going to write about?
I've always got a running list. I think I've always been someone who's very interested. And, well, I say interested. I'm nosy. I'm very, very nosy about the past. So I've always got a list of topics I want to cover or something I want to look into more or something interesting I've seen. And my whole house is covered in little lists and Post-it notes and things like that. And then finally writing about one of them for wherever it ends up feels like a bit of a cathartic process because then it's written, it's done, and it's out there. But it's generally related to spirits, spiritualism, and British folklore. But yeah, it varies a lot. I say that, you look at the list and go, no, it's very samey.
Okay, so let's put you to the test then. Keeping telepathy in the family, the Creery sisters.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, the Creery family, they became incredibly famous in a short space of time because the sisters claimed to have, they were young, they were like in, I think like in 10, 11, and they all claimed to have these telepathic abilities. And there were about 7 sisters. It was quite a big family. And it became a bit of a news story for a while that these, I think they were vicars' daughters, had these amazing abilities and were put through all manner of testing. And one was in one room, one was in the other. Could they transmit the same message? And it was very, very convincing. And they became quite famous for a while until it was sort of revealed that it was most probably a hoax. And they were all in it together. But I like the idea of the mind reading Brady Bunch, which is what I try and push forward with that one.
And it's really interesting by your last comment, not the Brady Bunch, the one before, that you say that it may have been a hoax, because I've done a few online courses with regard to the paranormal, poltergeist and ghosts and demonology and all that sort of stuff. and I had to write a paper on Borley Rectory.
Oh, lovely.
And ever since I was a kid, I loved all the stories about Borley Rectory.
Yes.
Which, for people that don't know, one of the most haunted locations in the UK until it burnt down in the 1940s. But then I found out that the investigator from the Society of Paranormal Research actually was walking around that location with pebbles in his jacket, and he was kind of launching them to make it sound like it was more active than what it actually was.
Yeah.
And I was so deflated to find out that some of this was fake.
I think when you start looking at historical hauntings, it's like you're going through a transitional process of becoming an adult and having to leave Santa behind. Certainly with Borley Rectory, I completely get it with Borley Rectory, because I grew up with the images of the writing on the walls where it says, I still cannot understand, Marianne, please tell me more. I love those images. And then when I was old enough to actually read about Borley Rectory and what happened with the Foysters and the lodger, it's like, oh God, behind every dramatic haunting, there's just people being deceptive and grotty. There's never this, amazing ancient haunting. It's just people that can't keep their trousers on, and then people that want to just keep the interest of tabloids by whatever means. So it's a shame, but I love the idea of Borley, and I very much romanticize Borley myself.
Me too. Like I say, I actually grew up with it, and it's like it was a place that I'd always wanted to visit, even though it went down in the 40s. I'm not that old, by the way. So.
Yeah, I gathered.
But it's and like you said, it was the pastor's wife was having an affair, so she was making up instances to hide her affair.
Yeah,
and it's like, oh man, and I was so disappointed.
I know. Okay. I suppose there's still a lot of arguments though that there was something, and then she used that to cover up. So we've still got little threads of hope.
Yeah, exactly. Borley. But obviously, because the places no longer exist, it's going to be very hard to test that.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Sunday afternoon. Let's test your memory even more. Frederick Tansley Munnings.
Frederick Tansley Munnings was a medium. Was Frederick Tansley Munnings?
Don't Google it. Come on.
Frederick Tansley Munnings.
Let me give you a clue. Medium, burglar, fake.
Oh, he was he was a trumpet medium. So he was lodging with a boarding house. He was lodging at a boarding house and robbed his landlady. But he was a really crap medium, and I love the crap ones the most.
Yeah.
But he was a trumpet medium, and it's not like a brass band. It's not like a colliery band runs into the séance room. Most people held these trumpets like listening horns, and voices would come out at the end, seemingly without the medium's intervention. Frederick Tansley Munnings was a direct voice medium, so voices appeared around him without his doing, essentially. But he did produce a lot of ectoplasm as well from the end of trumpets and from himself. And by all accounts, if I remember correctly, he wasn't very good at it. And not only was he robbing people, but he was doing a very poor job of hiding his ectoplasm.
Yeah. Okay, I'm not even going to go down that road. But it's funny how you mentioned about crap mediums, because Kate Ray describes herself as a crap medium.
See, and I love Kate Ray.
Yeah, she does. I just lost it when she went, I describe myself as the most shittiest medium. It's like, I don't know what to say to that, Kate.
Yeah, Kate's incredibly talented. So I think she's allowed to be crap at mediumship if she wants to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I released her podcast this Friday just gone.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got into a habit now where on Fridays, the wife and I will go to McDonald's. It's like a Friday ritual. So because I launched the podcast at 5 p.m. local time here, 10 p.m. your time, as we drive to McDonald's, I put it in the car. So we listen to it and on the way to the car, and then we listen to it on the way back. And then if we haven't finished, we stick it on TV and watch the last 15, 20 minutes. And that's become a ritual now.
That's lovely.
Just to make sure. Yeah. So you will be in my car very soon.
Good.
just letting you know.
Thank you. I look forward to my tour of Canada.
Yeah, I'll have to show you around.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to testing you, see how good you are today.
Okay.
The magnificent Thomas brothers.
Oh, they were Welsh mediums so they were working class Welsh mediums who were in a mining community, and they professed to be this amazingly talented brotherly duo who could do mediumship. And most of these mediums images have kind of been lost to time, certainly of that era, but they posed with spirit photographers. I think they posed with, I want to say William Hope, that's wrong. Well, they posed with a spirit photographer at the time. So we have images of the brothers with the spirit of a deceased person with them. But they were, again, not the greatest mediums, but I think they're particularly interesting as representations of how spiritualism really took hold in working class communities, especially in working class Welsh communities, because a lot of them were able to marry their pre-existing Christian or Anglican beliefs with this new shiny spiritualism, and so they went on to do a lot of demonstrations as well. But I like the Thomas brothers. There we go. I remember them.
See, and if you knew that you were going to get quizzed on all your previous articles, I bet you'd have done some research before.
Well, I've got such a crap memory at the best of times. I need about 5 minutes to warm up on each topic.
One of my most favourites, and you'll know why. It's probably your most recent one, I believe, that you did with Kate Ray.
Oh,
because
yes.
it's our home county, Lincolnshire. So spectres in the Shire, boggarts, bog, hests, and bouncing heads.
Yes. So
how did that come about?
Well, I was co-hosting a one-day festival in Lincolnshire, in Louth in Lincolnshire, that was it was called Not of This Wold, and it was a celebration of everything weird and creative about Lincolnshire. So it was a full-day event that Kate spoke at. Kate soldiered on amazingly. As she was loading her stall in, she managed to almost break her nose. She was loading up because one of the bungee cords snapped. And then she went on to do a talk about the Wollerton Gnomes, which is a gnome sighting in Nottinghamshire. But we had this full day of markets, and that we had stall holders that did tarot and Reiki and made all manner of weird things. We had a secondhand bookstall that specialised in paranormal and occult books. And I can tell you for one thing, they did very well out of the footfall. Even from me, they did very well. So we had that. We had music performances. We had a screening of Penda's Fen, which is like a folk horror classic. And lots of talks throughout the day, including Kate's. And mine was about several Lincolnshire hauntings. Because I think, as I'm sure you'll know, Lincolnshire is a very often overlooked county. It's the second biggest county in the UK, has this amazing folkloric tradition, this amazing haunted tradition, and it's just skimmed over. People only ever know Lincoln. And Lincoln has got some great weird folklory things. It's got the Lincoln Imp, and it's got the steps where the severed head of St. Hugh is said to bounce down late at night and knock people off balance. Even though there's a lot of pubs nearby, so I think they. I
was going to say that's got nothing to do with drinking.
Oh no, not at all. No, there's not like 6 pubs in the vicinity. But it's a really amazing county. So recently, certainly over the last year or two, I've become far more invested in my landscape and where I'm from, and I'm trying to put more stuff out there about Lincolnshire and celebrate Lincolnshire. And I'm speaking at a festival in August as well, where I'm exclusively talking about Lincolnshire Poltergeists. So it's quite nice to finally give all these hauntings and weird things a second wind and to be part of that movement. So that haunted article was kind of linked into Not of This Wold, and because both Kate and I were so busy with everything at the time, we sort of decided to join forces and put this joint piece together. And and so we did sort of a top of the pop style countdown of various witches, boggarts, beasties that we liked from Lincolnshire. So it was wonderful. It was really nice to work with her as well. Yeah.
And it's really strange because I've been over in Canada for 12 years now, but I spent most of my life in Lincolnshire.
Yes.
And since I've been involved with the paranormal, I've tried to find paranormal teams in Lincolnshire, and there doesn't seem to be any.
There are,
and it's really weird.
Yeah, there are very, very few. I personally think I would have been. A lot of my first paranormal investigative efforts were solo, because, like you say, it's so hard to connect with people that could possibly be interested in doing investigations. But there are a couple of groups, but it really does feel like the heyday of Lincolnshire ghost hunting, if we call it that, was kind of in the 90s. There was quite an established group called Ghostbusters UK. But, I think
That's original.
I think copyright claims weren't so popular in the 90s. But they were a very prominent group in Grimsby in the 90s. They had a book written about them. They were an amazing group of academics and really impassioned paranormal investigators that I've got slightly obsessed with of late. I only found their book a couple of months ago, and a few of them, from what I understand, still live locally. So, I mean, God help them, they're going to have a letter put through their letterbox sometime soon, aren't they?
Yeah, because it's really weird, because being from Boston, you've got the Boston Stump.
Yes.
So you've got the story of the Grey Lady that seemed to be around in the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, but nobody seems to have seen or experienced it recently. And then you've got the Guild Hall, you've got Shodfriars, you've got some really interesting locations, but people just don't seem. I know there's a good friend of mine that does historical walks around Boston, and she goes to all these locations, but there doesn't seem to be, like I say, a solid group that could go, oh yeah, we've investigated this and we've investigated that.
Yeah, I think it's partially perhaps because Lincolnshire's so big, and certainly from where I am, which is into the Wolds and into East Lindsey, there's huge spaces of just fields and fields and fields between little villages. So it's quite hard to build specialist communities like that. But yeah, there's certainly a lot of witch-based and Wiccan communities along the coast. I know there's a lot of witches in Skegness, so if anyone's interested, of all places, of course they're in Skegness. But it's a very, I think because everything's so geographically sparse, we've carried on that reticence to build communities, which is a shame. Like I say, there are some groups, but they're not as prominent online as all the counties are, really.
I live in Canada, right? Yeah, sparse locations. Come on. It's like
it's all relative.
Okay. Let's just let that. So you mentioned at the start of the podcast about some of your personal experiences that we haven't actually touched on yet. So from a paranormal point of view, can you talk to us about a few of your personal experiences?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'd say my most enduring and most impactful experiences were when I was a teenager. This is long before I was an investigator or fully entrenched in the paranormal. And my sister moved house, and she'd moved into a perfectly ordinary post-war semi-detached house in Grimsby. And I was spending a lot of time there. And as we started, this is a very condensed version of what happened, but as we started redecorating, things started going wrong in the house. So we'd start seeing these huge flashes of light. And I mean flashes in like if you put a slash in a bit of fabric, it's like a long line. These huge slashes of light moving around the house, in just as if they were people, and moving up and down the stairs. We started hearing footsteps at all hours of the day, doing this route across the landing and down the stairs. And then eventually it was all over the house. And as the first year went on, we eventually started seeing this sort of like a bit of someone walking into rooms. So we'd see like the bit of someone's arm, but it was all like a black static going into a room. And eventually we started seeing this figure, this man, in different rooms in the house. And he would just stand there. He'd walk up and down the stairs and across the landing all day. And sometimes he'd be stood in my bedroom just looking at me. Sometimes he threw things a few times in my sister's bedroom, and a couple of times he would just hover above the bath when you went into the bathroom. And it sounds completely unhinged and full Hollywood stuff, but it was very real, and it was very, very frightening, and it was more extreme than anything I've ever encountered in an active paranormal investigation. And part of me's all right about that, because it was so scary and it was so intense, and it happened over the space of about 3 years, to the point where we were just used to it, and we would go to the toilet in pairs. We would stay downstairs during the day, completely dehydrate ourselves, and then go up in pairs at night. I was ending up sleeping on a mattress in my sister's bedroom, and then I moved out, and they ended up sleeping in a mattress downstairs while they were trying to sell it. It's a full horrible experience. But since then, I think doing paranormal investigation has given me a very different understanding of what the paranormal can be, and certainly what paranormal communities can be as well. And so with investigations, just the other week, I was at Tudor World in Stratford, which is a really lovely, living history museum. And I was calling out upstairs, trying to communicate with the spirit of a little girl, and I felt a tugging on my sleeve, which apparently this little girl's meant to do to signify that she's there. So I felt tugging on my sleeve, and I said, "Oh, amazing. If that's you, so-and-so, could you do it again, please?" And it happened again. And I thought, oh, this is amazing, because I could see the fabric move as well.
Wow.
And then we started to say, we're saying it's a little girl, but there's also been this male spirit associated with this space. Could it possibly be him? And he's lying. And it was as if, like clockwork, I felt this big hand on my backside from behind me. And I shot up like no one's business. And that was like, oh, okay. Oh, great, there's creeps in the afterlife as well. This is excellent. So that's like the two extremes. You've got the terrifying poltergeist and then the handsy little git in the afterlife.
Yeah. And it's like, it's really funny that you say that, because last weekend we went to the US to this absolutely beautiful old Scottish style hotel.
Mm-hmm.
4-poster beds, and there was reports that these 2 rooms were particularly haunted. So me and my buddies, there's 3 of us, rented these two rooms for the weekend. We call ourselves skeptics with open minds until things are proven, and we will try to. Obviously, you try to debunk as much as you can. Sunday night, Monday morning, 2:00 in the morning, I'm just climbing into bed after finishing the investigation. And it's got the old heavy blankets on, so you're settling into bed, and you feel the blankets settle, which that happened. Didn't think anything of it. And then, no word of a lie, 30 seconds later, this heavy weight sat on the bed. And I thought, well, that's not the blanket settling, it's too heavy. Opened my eyes, and I just saw this white thing go past.
Oh, gosh.
For like a split second. And it's like... and I knew that I wasn't asleep, because I'd only been in bed literally minutes. I wasn't that tired. I felt something first, and then when I opened my eyes, I saw this thing. But that was only my personal experience. There was no cameras running or anything like that. So only I can talk about that. And it's like, it's really weird that I experienced that in one of the most haunted rooms in this location. And it's like, it's really strange.
Yeah.
But I'm pleased it happened, because I've now got another story in my paranormal collection.
Yeah.
To add to the previous.
I think it's always a bonus as well. I think so many of us, whenever we go to hotels or investigations, you're always sort of strong-armed into booking the haunted room. And the amount of times I've stayed in the most haunted room in the hotel and there's just been nothing. It's a real relief when there is something. Yeah. You feel like, okay, I've got my money's worth now. At least there's something.
Yeah, because we experienced an orb. And I know most people in the profession think that orbs are dust or bugs. But we've had 3 or 4 people looking at this video, and it just looked like 2 things that are spiraling down.
Yeah.
So we ruled out bugs because there was no bugs in the entire building for the entire weekend. It wasn't dust, it was far too big. It wasn't particles of paint or anything falling down from the ceiling. And we've zoomed in, and it just looks like it's two things that are just spot, and it's sort of like, we can't explain what that is. It's not your typical like dust or bug, because it was far too big, and it was like 3 or 4 different people like are looking into this to try and figure out what it is, and nobody's got any answers yet.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. It's always good to have something that you leave unanswered.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I've noticed with talking to you is you've got a picture of the weeping boy behind you.
Oh, I do. I have 2 variations of the crying boy behind me. Yeah.
So, do you believe in the story of the weeping boy picture?
Personally, I believe in the hysteria of it, but I also know that I've had, and they're not reprints. These are original, like 60s, 70s, crying boy prints that once again came from Skegness. Can you believe it? I picked these up from Skegness.
It's going to be a hot spot.
It is. It's Skegness, paranormal hotspot of Lincolnshire. Who'd have thought it? But yeah, no, I don't. I think there's some interesting discourse around them because I don't think it's as simple as it was hysteria and we can debunk it all by saying that there was a special kind of varnish or that they were all hung up with string, and so that when they were in house fires, the picture landed face first. I think that's quite neat, but I've heard some very interesting arguments to the contrary, especially when they look into different places that produced these prints, because they weren't from one source. You could get them from BHS or Woolworths, various different places. So I think there's a nice bit of, to keep a bit of the mystery alive, offers a bit of frisson to the story of the crying boy. But I've had these 2 prints with me in 3 different houses, and I haven't touched wood. I've had no problems so far with house fires. But also, when these were hung up everywhere, people had chip pans.
Exactly. Yeah,
and I think we have very quickly forgotten the fears of chip pan fires that certainly I grew up with. I thought chip pan fires would be a very prominent part of my adult life, and thus far they haven't been. So,
being a firefighter at the time in the late
course.
80s, early 90s, we used to get them all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, do you have a picture of the weeping boy in your house?
Yeah, they should have made graphs that were relating the boy versus chip pan present, and just see how it weights everything. Yeah.
You never thought we'd be talking about chip pan fires on today's podcast, that's for sure.
You see, all sources covered.
Exactly. So we've spoken quite intensely about your writing career.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved with TV? Because we've got, I think, Unexplained Caught on Camera.
Mm-hmm.
And when they show the commercial, there's you going, no.
Yeah.
And it's sort of like, yeah, I'm interviewing her in a few weeks' time. So how did you get involved from being writing into meeting Jack Osborne and working with Jack, Unexplained Caught on Camera, and your most latest, Weird Britain with Andy McGrath?
Yes, yeah.
Andy McGrath, sorry.
It started off again. I think my name was put forward with a few other people. I think the production company was putting feelers out for new talent, as they call it. And I had been running a blog for several years before that, and I'd put a lot of stuff online about the work I'd been doing and so forth. And eventually I ended up having interviews and met production staff, did investigations that they came along to see how, my investigative style, and to see that I wasn't a fully dyed-in-the-wool nutter. And then after that, my first proper telly job was working with Jack Osborne on the first series of Haunted Homecoming, which was wonderful. And I think it was really nice to have such a really great production team behind that who were fully invested in it. And obviously working with Jack and his family as well was just was really lovely. They were all in it and quite really committed to making the best possible project we could.
That's quite surreal, sort of like growing up with the Osbournes, like Ozzy Osbourne being in Black Sabbath and such, and Sharon being on like Britain's Got Talent and all that stuff, and then you working with Jack. That must have been quite surreal.
I think it was more the whole process was quite surreal, but I'm not one to get starstruck, sadly. So, but I think a lot of one of the greatest things with people that have a very large presence or big celebrities is as soon as you realise that they're just ordinary people, you have a much better interaction with people and you make a much better end product. And so that, I think that again helped us to produce something that was quite authentic and perfectly enjoyable. So that series was 22 with Jack, and then we did the second series of Haunted Homecoming with Jonathan Ross last December, who was absolutely lovely, one of the nicest people I've ever worked with, really supportive, really interested and very open to everything. And I think that's the trick with any newcomer coming into the paranormal field, is if they're interested, if they don't know really what's going on but they want to learn, that's brilliant. That's half the battle over with when you're getting someone immersed in that. And I've just sort of, you can't rely on telly, you can't rely on regular telly, but it's a nice thing to scatter in amongst the rest of the work you're doing. And so I think whenever anything comes along that I feel I'd like to do, it's I've been fortunate in that everyone I've worked with has been very lovely. Then I went on to do, like I say, Unexplained Caught on Camera, which was fabulous because I just had to sit and say it's probably not a mermaid, mate, for a couple of hours, which was brilliant. So that was fun. I really enjoyed that. And that was all filmed in a crypt as well. So I felt like I got more goth points for that one.
Definitely.
Yeah. And then I did The Yorkshire Exorcist 2 with Ian Lawman, who was also really, really lovely. And Paul Goddard, the past life regressionist, was involved in that as well. And he is just absolute consummate professional. Fantastic, fantastic man. And then, then Weird Britain. I've been doing bits and bobs for Weird Britain with with Andy and Matt, and it's been wonderful. I've sort of zipped all over the place with them.
Yeah.
And they're a fantastic team. I really like Weird Britain because it's a real celebration of this country, and it's folklore, it's weird things, it's weird people. And I've certainly, when I've watched it, the episodes that I haven't been in, I've ended up with these lists of places to visit. Like, oh, I need to do this. I need to reach out to this person. I need to do this. I think they're just wonderful. I really, really like it. A few people have said that it's the spiritual successor to 4T TV. If anyone remembers that from the early 2000s, I think it was late 90s, early 2000s.
Showing your age.
Yeah, sorry. But it's great. I really like Weird Britain, and I'm on a couple of episodes this series and a couple of the forthcoming one as well. So
yeah, because the one that I saw a few weeks ago was the cemetery one that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm. What was it? It was I think I did 3 in 1 a few weeks ago. It was the Kidsgrove Boggart, which is a tunnel, the Harecastle Tunnel, that's haunted by the spirit of a murdered woman. The Four Crosses Inn at Cannock, which is a very, very popular paranormal haunt. That's got an odd place, an odd feeling about it. And then the not Molly Lee, was it Molly Lee? Margaret Lee? The Staffordshire Witch, who was a visibly different woman who was clearly a little bit cantankerous and a bit awkward, and was vilified by her community and believed to be a witch. And then when she died, her pet black bird of some variety started harassing the local villagers and the local publican. They believed that the bird was the source of all their problems and had it sealed up with her. I mean, that's a horrific story, but her grave is still there. And it's a very poignant story, but a very beautiful piece of folklore, and certainly in women's history as well.
Yeah, because I think, if I remember rightly, I actually took a picture of while I was watching it on TV and put it onto your Facebook page.
Oh, right,
and said
yes.
I was watching it from Canada.
Yeah.
Okay, so we are coming towards the end. However, there are a couple more things that I want to talk about before we do. I know recently you've been in my hometown and you did a talk on Boston Cemetery.
Yes.
So what was that all about?
Well, I love Boston Cemetery. I've done quite a few talks for the Friends of Boston Cemetery over the years on mourning and death traditions. And this time, it was glorious weather. I think when you've got such beautiful weather, the best way to spend it is to be wandering around a cemetery, and Boston Cemetery is just fabulous. But I was doing a talk on how to read a cemetery, so sort of the history of a cemetery, why we have cemeteries in the UK, because I think a lot of people conflate the terms cemetery and graveyard and think they're talking about the same thing. It's like the coffin casket. They're very, very separate, very, very separate terminologies. So why we have cemeteries and how the Victorians revolutionised what we see as burial traditions. And having such a big cemetery as Boston, it has this amazing older part of the cemetery, a lot of which is overgrown and is meant to be a conservation area. But it certainly adds to the feeling of the place. But it's stunning. I think it's a wonderful example of a mid to late Victorian cemetery. It's really beautiful. And more people need to celebrate it. More people need to support it. But they're having a Heritage Day soon, so they can't get rid of me. I'll be back again. Prod around Boston's dead.
Because I'm very good friends with, I was when I was in the UK, Martin, the guy that basically is the manager there.
Yeah.
And I've known Martin for years and years and years. And when I've been doing my family tree, I've been trying to find locations of various relatives that have passed and are buried there. So I've always reached out to him to find, because my mother's there, my grandfather's there, some of my uncles and aunties are there. But like you say, it's absolutely fascinating that you can come through the gates in Robinhood's Walk and you see the modern side of it with the crematorium. But if you go straight down to the bottom and turn right, and then you get into the Victoria, and it's a completely different location.
Oh, yeah, it's like a different world, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, yeah. And the fact that you get some of the deer coming through every now and then.
It's
deer's
lovely.
bouncing around the cemetery. It's crazy. But yeah, like you say, it is a fascinating place to go to. And I do love, every time I go to the UK, apart from the fact to go and visit my mum, I always go and have a walk through there just to experience what that cemetery is all about, really.
Yeah, I think it's very important. Personally for me, I mean, it obviously varies from person to person, but I find it very important to ground myself a lot, and I think visiting cemeteries can be a nice opportunity to have some quiet time for starters. I think so many of us are so overstimulated all the time. You sort of need that self-enforced oasis of calm in the middle of a city. But to be there, especially if you've got family there, to make it a sort of pilgrimage of sorts, and to connect with that stillness and with that sense of remembrance, I think is really rather lovely and very powerful as well. So I always try and encourage anyone to visit their local cemetery. But then again, whenever I go on holiday anywhere, I encourage whoever's with me to go and visit the local cemetery, because that's what I insist upon doing wherever I go. Only this morning, I was in a different cemetery and I've raced back to speak with you.
I've got no words for that. But just final touching on Boston Cemetery, when I started doing my family history, I know that my grandfather had a sister who was married, and he died in World War II when a lone German bomber dropped a bomb on the factory in Grantham where he worked and killed him. And he's actually on that war memorial
really?
that's down there. But I didn't know this at the time while I was in England, because he's got a different name, so it just didn't click.
Yeah.
But what makes it even more interesting is that the German bomber that dropped the bomb got hit by anti-aircraft fire and crashed just outside Boston Cemetery.
Oh, really?
So I've actually got a picture of he that died,
the
location where he died, a picture of the aircraft, the picture of the crashed aircraft, and all the crew survived.
Oh my gosh.
So I've got that full story of that individual.
Oh, that's so powerful, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, I'm jaw dropping for that. Because like, wow. And you could put all these connections together, and it was absolutely fascinating.
Oh, it really is. That was really... Yeah, that's incredibly sad, but very humanizing as well, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. So I know for a fact that you've got a new book coming out.
Yes, well, I have. It's out now. It's out. It is released. It is released in the world. Begotten, my Gothic novel, is out. It is free. It has been birthed from my mind. It's a Gothic novel written in Victorian ghost story traditions, and it's kind of a reworking of the haunted house trope. And I think a lot of paranormal investigators would be very interested to see how I've incorporated modern ghost traditions with Victorian spiritualist traditions within it. But it's a story about lies, money, and séance. And if you can ever trust your own senses. And it's all that wrapped up in a big isolated house in the middle of nowhere, with people trying to figure out if anything that they're seeing is real and if they can ever escape. So it's been described as incredibly intense. I've had some amazing reviews so far of people that have finished it in like 2 sittings and have said that they've had to have a break because they were having palpitations towards the end. So I see that as the only sort of review I could ever really want. I thought that was wonderful, but I think it would appeal to a lot of different people, even if they're not regular readers. It's a good, solid story of deception and ghosts.
And is that in hard copy as well as electronic, or just online?
It's paperback, and it's an ebook, and you can get it from all your normal outlets. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, in some local shops, probably not in Canada, but you can order it online in Canada.
Yeah.
But it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and it's out now.
Yeah. I'll have to get it for my ghost collection.
Oh, you must.
But this book here, I actually bought from an old store. I didn't look inside it. I just said, "Oh, it's a book on ghosts. It's really thick. It looks cool, so I'm going to buy it." so I just bought it. But actually, Begotten was actually not the one I was referring to. The one that's coming out in 2026. Can we speak about that?
But yes, I've been the grave-based one.
Yeah, Buried England.
Yes, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, the first person I've spoken to about this. I'm handing in the manuscript in a matter of weeks, which is terrifying. It's very, very real. But that is, well, as you'll know now, I've spent a lot of my life going round churchyards, graveyards, weird little spots in the backwoods of nowhere, and trying to find unusual graves and unusual grave stories. And I've been documenting these graves photographically, and have been noting down bits about them. So Buried England it's a photographic journey through England's most unusual burials. So I've visited hundreds of graves across the country, picked the weirdest and most obscure places, and have documented them all. And I'm trying to tell the story of Britain's strangest dead inhabitants. And that's Buried England, and that should be out next year. But yeah, I'm handing in the manuscript soon, and then it's becoming horribly real.
Yeah, see, and this proves I've done my research.
You have. You absolutely have done your research. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, apart from Buried England, what's next on the agenda for Kate Cherrell?
More long-form non-fiction, even bigger non-fiction projects. So I've got that. I've got several academic chapters that are still waiting to be published. The joys of academic publishing. You hand something in 3 years ago, 7 years down the line, it will probably come out. So I've got a lot of that where I'm just sort of twiddling my thumbs. So when it's not even relevant anymore, that's when it'll be published. So I've got a lot of academic stuff that's in publishing limbo at the minute with various publishers. And then, I've got some long form, quite scary, hefty non-fiction research projects that I'm working on that should, we'll see. We're aiming for, I say royal we, I'm aiming for late 26 to be done with them. That's what I've said anyway. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
But at least you've still got time to go with Charlie to get some ice cream at Cleethorpes. So that's the main thing, right?
Exactly. And long may that continue.
That's what I think she's up for it, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, Kate, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. I know that we've had a complete blast. We talk about some really wonderful things that I've especially wanted to talk to you about. So I hope you've enjoyed it as well.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But I'm glad that we finally managed to get together.
I know. It took us long enough, didn't it?
6 months or whatever it was.
Oh, I know. Oh, it's been a year. It's been a year.
Yeah, and long may it continue, because if you're not busy, you get bored and whatever.
Oh, but, yeah. When I'm settled, I'm usually up for a natter when I'm not running around like a awesome. Like a headless chicken.
Yeah. But again, thank you for your time. It's been an absolute blast talking to you, and you have a great rest of the day. Thank you very much.
And you, thank you.
Bye-bye now.